Some might think this is a dumb way to start my horror channel on YouTube, but, I kind of thought that too. Then I decided to do it, and here's why. There's no shortage of horror content out there floating around for you to enjoy, or hate, or disagree with, or agree with wholeheartedly. It doesn't fucking matter. There's just a lot of it. So I wanted to have a bit of a niche. So I have all these kind of out of the box ideas for videos and subject matter and whatnot. And I figured I would introduce these video by video, right? And this first one is kind of funny because I did a video on Facebook a while back before I started a horror channel. And this is called Defending Insert Whatever Fucking Movie I'm Going to Defend. And basically what that is when I see people reviewing horror films and they end up getting way more hate than I feel is deserved, I'll do a video defending them. Mainly because there's a lot of complaints about horror films at times where I think a lot of people don't really consider some things. They just take a lot of things at face value or don't think about them too hard or anything like that, which I understand that. But I just feel like sometimes people don't consider things. And when you consider them, it can change the entire aspect of your opinion. So, yeah, I did one of these for Halloween 2018. Today, I'm going to be doing it for Halloween Kills. But before I do that, also, there's going to be the polar opposite of this kind of video on my channel, where I talk about horror films that I fucking hate. Maybe more people love them, but I hate them, and I'll try to explain why. So anyway, without further ado, there's going to be spoilers in this motherfucker here. Halloween Kills. Things to consider. In the defense of. Whatever the fuck, right? Now, before I get into it, I'm going to drop a name or two, because I watched their reviews of this, and I just want to explain this before I get into it. I'm not telling them their opinion is wrong at all, and I respect their opinion. That's why I watch their content, right? And I'm not attacking these people. I'm just giving them something to consider. And before I get into it again, let me say this much, because horror fandom is weird, but Halloween has a very weird fan base. I know, because I'm part of it. And I just want everyone to realize before I get into this that no matter what I'm talking about in this video, when it comes to people that didn't care for the film, if someone didn't like Halloween Kills, believe it or not, that does not make them lesser of a Halloween fan. Some people seem to think so, like you're not a real fan if you didn't like the movie, and that's not the case. They just didn't care for that movie. They can be a humongous fan of Halloween and not care for that movie. I'm not going to lie to you. There's things in most of the films besides 78 that I don't really care for in the franchise. I'm just saying, to be honest with you. And there's no way this movie is any worse than some of the other installments that people seem to love. So anyway, let's get into it. I'll start with this. This is the name drop. I'm not doing it for clout, and I'm not attacking this person. I respect their opinion, and I watch the fuck out of their videos. AJ Good. Alright, AJ Good did his review of Halloween Kills. And he had mentioned two things that I just wanted to bring up real quick. And it's not going to save the film to someone with his opinions or whatever. It's just little things that I think people should consider. He's not the only person that doesn't really consider this, I guess, in these situations. So let's just get into it. We'll start with Hawkins shooting his partner, right? He had said that, Michael wasn't moving at all whatsoever, and he felt that Hawkins could have moved around a little bit and got a better angle and would have been able to shoot him in the head because Michael wasn't moving. But my rebuttal for that is Hawkins wasn't moving, right? The reason why that's important is because maybe Michael wasn't moving because he didn't have to, right? Because Hawkins didn't. So why would he be moving around, right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is this, because more people complain about this part of it, not just AJ Good, and that is the Loomis dialogue, right? Like Loomis shows up, which was amazing. I was in fucking awe. It was surreal to see Donald Pleasence, even though it wasn't him, on the big screen again. Which, fun fact, that was actually practical effects and not CGI. So people are like, that was the best CGI I ever seen. It's like, yeah, it wasn't though, because it wasn't CGI. It was makeup effects. Incredible, amazing makeup effects. Anyway, basically, AJ Good and plenty of other people have said that Loomis's dialogue was kind of dumb and completely irrelevant in every way. And his dialogue was this. Did he kill? Did he kill again? but frantically, right? And it's like, there's two parts to this, right? Because a lot of people are like, that's dumb. Dr. Loomis is his doctor, and this person's a serial killer. So yeah, probably he has killed again. What was the point of asking that? You should have known that, right? Here are the things to consider. Number one, first and foremost, it all ties back to the ending of the film, which has a line that was spoiled in the previews, which they should not have put in the previews, because I think it would have packed more of a punch for people if they would have just heard it in the film, because it's like at the very end of the movie, and it kind of starts giving you an idea of what the fuck is up. And of course, I'm talking about Laurie's line, where she says, the more he kills, the more he transcends. Now, keep in mind, Dr. Loomis knows Michael better than anyone out there, right? So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that he might know that somehow, right? And him frantically asking if he killed, did he kill again, might be him gauging the situation and just how much more, how much time they have to put it into him before he's unstoppable. That's one way to look at it. And another way to look at it is this, too, by the way, because a lot of people are like, why would he even ask that? He's his doctor. He's a serial killer. It's dumb to ask him that, right? And it's like, not really, because no one seems to consider this either. The flashback scene, obviously, is from 1978, right? And at that point of the night in 1978, in the film, Dr. Loomis, the reason why he wasn't like, he, was concerned if he had killed again, and the reason he was asking it, right, is because up until the point in this story, Dr. Loomis only knows about one person he killed. He was not yet informed of the other deaths in the movie. So he wouldn't just assume he's out here killing people, because in his mind, he's only killed one person at this point in the timeline to him. He doesn't know about the other victims. So him saying that shouldn't be too big of a thing to, complain about, because at the end of the day, he wasn't really a serial killer per se just yet. So I just think people should consider that, right? Plus, a lot of people are like, there's too much gore in this movie. Like, it's even further removed from the original, right? And it's like, again, first of all, you have to consider that it wasn't that crazy, the gore, by the way. And the other installments, because a lot of people said that, and it's like, at least the other movies felt like a Halloween film. And it's like, yeah, but those movies, right, had gore in them as well. Like, it wasn't uncommon for him to decapitate people, which is pretty brutal. He's done that a bunch of times. He's even put their heads in the wash machine and stuff like that. It's pretty graphic. He fucking, throws Jamie Lloyd on a fucking goddamn wheat grinder thing, and then shreds her into chunks of meat like Fargo style. It's pretty gory, wouldn't you say? He electrocuted that one asshole in The Curse of Michael Myers until his head exploded. That was pretty gory. All I'm saying is the gore shouldn't have turned you off, because all of the movies, besides the first one, have some sort of gore within them and blood and whatnot. Anyway, that's besides the fucking point. I'm just saying the gore wasn't that over the top. And it's a slasher movie. Again, let me reiterate that. It's a modern slasher, so yeah, there's going to be some gore in there. Anyways, that was something else people were complaining about, right? And another thing was the mob shit. Like, they're like, the mob shows up, but what did they bring to try to kill Michael? These people didn't have guns. We'll just go get hockey sticks and baseball bats. And the lady got an iron. That's, everyone knows that. That's the current theme and joke, right? Right now. But basically, more than one person's complained about that. How these people showed up without a gun to fuck up Michael, the mob, And, number one, first and foremost, some of the people did have guns. Yeah. I think they're trying to portray it realistically. And believe it or not, there's a great deal of people that do not own guns. So maybe there wasn't a shitload of guns, but there were guns. He gets shot in the fucking scene, for fuck's sakes. Someone shoots him. He also gets stabbed, which is a pretty good, notorious murder weapon as well. So that's kind of a dumb thing to bitch about, really. Like, oh, well, they showed up with this and no guns. Like, no, a couple of them did have guns. He was shot in this very scene that you're talking shit about for not having people bring guns. There's a great deal of people in this movie that have guns, by the way, just because they're not in the mob scene, right? Lonnie, multiple guns, for which he gives his son and Allison a gun. So now there's 3 people with guns in this movie. And the cops had guns in this movie, right? And then random people in the mob had guns in this movie. There were guns. It's just not everyone brought guns, because no one, not to mention the fact as well that while he is a legendary boogeyman for Haddonfield, keep in mind, these people, this mob here, they don't know he's fucking unstoppable, right? They don't realize that this isn't going to have a very big effect on him, because in their eyes, he's just a dude. And believe it or not, a dude getting the ever-living fucking shit beat out of him by baseball bats and all that stuff pretty much renders guns pointless as fuck, because no one should be able to survive a beating from like 100 people with weapons. They didn't know he was unkillable, so they didn't necessarily need to bring guns. It's not like people were like went into the situation like, I know we didn't bring any guns. It's a shame though, because apparently this guy can't die, right? No, they were more like, we're gonna go fuck this dude up. We all have baseball bats, and we can beat this motherfucker to death in a matter of moments with baseball bats. That's how they were looking at it. The whole gun shortage thing is stupid. In the real world, 5 people with baseball bats can kill an average person, but whatever. So there's that. There's so many more things people complained about. The gunshot to the head thing. It's like, oh, God forbid they put something kind of funny in there. All the movies, even 78, all of them have a little comedy. Who can forget, Lonnie, get your ass away from there? With the smile. That happened in the 78 one. So don't freak out about that kind of shit. And, I don't know. A lot of people are like, oh, the legacy characters sucked. They didn't do a whole lot. I didn't care, though, honestly. Because at least in this version of the timeline, we get to know what happened to them in the future. Because some of these characters were in like 1 or 2 of these movies, but never, ever, ever mentioned again or given any idea what the fuck happened to him. Sheriff Brackett, what the fuck happened to him? Who knows, right? You got fucking Tommy Doyle. He came back for the Curse. He was in the first one, but what happened after Curse? Nobody really knows, because they didn't go into it at all, right? What about Nurse Marion in this timeline? You know what I mean? What about Lonnie in this timeline? I think you get the idea, okay? So, yeah. Another thing people were, like, flipping out about is, like, why are they so upset? Like, why does the mere mention of Michael Myers turn them into crazed lunatics? I mean, because he only killed, like, 3 or 4 people. A lot of people like to say he only killed 3 people 40 years ago, which is not true, because he killed Bob, he killed PJ Souls' character, which I'm embarrassed I forgot her name in this movie, killed Annie Brackett, and he killed the goddamn mechanic. So technically he killed 4 people by that point, but that doesn't fucking matter, because in case you haven't been or lived or even traveled through or stayed a night in a small town, the reason why people lose their mind like that in this movie is because small towns are usually a tight-knit group, and when someone in their, like some of their people are killed, right, they do in fact take that pretty personally. They all know the victims, they know them very well, because it's a small town, and this motherfucker killed several people of their people and from this small town. Therefore, they are more aggressively fucking going to be pissed about Michael escaping, because that's the small town mentality. Like, how dare you take some of our people? These are our people. This is a small town. You're gonna fucking die for that shit. Because, that's how they look at it. That's a small town mentality. It's a real thing. So them freaking out about him escaping shouldn't blow your mind that much, because like I just said, some of their people were killed by this person, and they're not going to stand for it. So yeah, that explains that. It's a small town mentality. So calm the fuck down, right? And then I also, here's something else that I can't really believe people don't really talk about. They're always like, well, what happened to Ray? How come they don't talk about Ray at all? Like, they're not reacting to Ray's death at all, whatsoever. It's like they don't give a fuck about Ray. Which is not true, by the way. There's plenty of scenes. Just because they don't speak in the scenes doesn't mean it's not alluding to the fact that they're devastated that Ray's dead. Like the part where Karen's washing her hands and they're all shaking and shit. She's getting the blood off her hands, and then she, like, you know, makes sure that she washes and, like, cleans the fucking goddamn wedding ring on her finger. And then she closes the curtains and starts crying hysterically. Yeah, that was because of Ray, obviously, right? Then there's the part where Allison is talking to Lonnie about Ray, and Lonnie is telling her a heartwarming, we're good pals, this is a funny story about Ray, and she's back there trying to hold back the extreme amount of emotion as he's telling her about this. Like, she's got, like, the smile on her face, like, that's my dad, but also, like, it's mixed with sadness. So yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, that had to do with Ray. All I'm saying is obviously they cared about Ray, and they absolutely had scenes portraying that thought process, but people don't seem to really think that for some reason, right? It's crazy. Like, she's even Alice is like, Dad's dead. You know what I mean? They talk about it and allude to it multiple times in the movie. And also, it's a slasher movie. Like, who really gave a fuck about Ray in the audience? You know what I mean? People act like that's the craziest shit in the world. It's like, dude, some slasher movies, people can find victims and still manage to go fuck each other. You know what I mean? But yet, you know, you're going to judge a movie for not addressing a character that they totally address, like, multiple times in the movie. Well, anyway, that's my thoughts on Halloween Kills. I know a lot of people didn't care for the ending, but, you know, what the fuck? You know? Plus, it was cool to see Michael go berserk on everyone. And I'm interested to see the fourth installment. And I got a feeling the fourth installment is going to tie everything together and maybe be more up to speed with what a lot of people think of when they think Halloween. I have a feeling it's going to be, already said it was going to be toned down. It's going to be more like a mental thing rather than just a hardcore, insane bloodbath. So, yeah, it'll probably tie them all together real nicely. But I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty much satisfied with the trilogy so far. I liked 2018, and I liked Kills. So there you have it. Later.